Good morning, Spiritual Life Center. Welcome to the SLC Sunday Experience. How is everyone today? Doing good? Awesome. We have everyone who was here last week, and I am joining them again this week. We have a wonderful service ahead, and let's all sing about how we are welcome here. Oh yeah, Janet, you have your book today. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. In the right place, I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh my soul is welcome here. Oh my soul is welcome here. And I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome. It's all about synchronizing with life today. James has a lovely talk for you. I'm in the right place at the right time, right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time, right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. And I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome here. My soul's at my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. I'm getting the message. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. Come on, sing it. My soul is welcome here. Ooh, ooh. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. And my soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's welcome
indeed, our souls and your soul and everyone's soul is welcome here. Even the ones we can't see, the invisible ones that are just coming out and hang out with Spiritual Life Center.
Good morning, Reverend James.
I know, you never know what pops up in my mind,
And it's always very interesting. And we greet you this morning in the name of all that is good, all that is holy, and all that is sacred, and in the warm and loving energy of this community, Spiritual Life Center. Spiritual Life Center honors all people worshiping in temples, mosques, churches, stone circles, and the beautiful temples of nature, because we know there is no space that God does not grace. And if you're with us for the very first time today, whether it is online or here in person, we especially want to welcome you, because we know that you are not here by accident, that every one of us is here by divine appointment. And we're always so pleased and happy and grateful to be together, and that gratitude extends to silencing your electronic devices. And please refrain from flash photography during the service. Thank you.
Let us take this moment to commune with the presence. We removed any distractions that may be around us, so we can be fully here now and realize our oneness with the Spirit of the living God as well as one another. We remember that we are one in the Spirit. And it's this spiritual presence that is known by many names, but most of all, we remember it as love itself. And it's love, divine love, that really binds us all together. So whether we realize it or not, or recognize it or not, we are one on a soul level, on a spiritual level. And we realize that however we show up, whatever we contribute to our world is not only affecting us, but affects everyone, because we are one. So we bring forth the qualities of this presence, first and foremost, the divine love itself, the peace that passes all understanding, the love that is beyond measure, the joy, the wisdom, and all the offsprings of this divine presence we incorporate and make our own, because they are within us and around us. And so we're grateful to be the channels and the vessels of this presence, and anchor on earth the highest and best of who and what we are and every quality that it represents. And as we do, we can say without a doubt that when you see us, you see the presence that sent us, for we are its representation. For this and so much more, we're grateful and thankful as we go forth being the ambassadors, the arms and the ears, the hands and the feet of this presence, because we know that this presence needs us to shine its light, and we do so with absolute joy and with absolute abundance. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. Well, we have a very important purpose here at Spiritual Life Center, as reflected in our mission statement. Let's affirm that together. To transform lives, to make a positive difference in the world, as we love, serve, and remember. And we carry out that mission with these 5 universal principles and embody them to the very best of our ability, so that we can be the expression of what these principles are. Again, let's say them together. God is absolute good and everywhere present. People are inherently good. Thoughts create our experiences. Prayer and meditation are how we connect with God, and we must take action.
And action it is in the Wow Wednesday. Sacred symbolism, unveiling the metaphysics and metaphysical, mystical layers of the Bible. I should have that memorized by now. It's just been a spectacular class, and if you haven't come yet, you still have one more night to come. And we had a blast last week. Reverend James gave us a passage from the Bible and broke us up into groups, and we all came up with our own interpretation, and it was a really good exercise.
Yeah, we had a good time. So we're going to do it again this week for last week of the course.
Last week. So come, and the community meal is at 6, and the program starts at 7, and he says we won't go till 8:30, but we usually do, so there.
Also, just to remind you that we're having the Laurel and Hardy affair And and it's called the group Another Fine Mess. I believe that's the film that they're showing.
No, that's the name of the group.
Oh, it's the name of the group.
Yeah.
Oh, the group is A Fine Mess.
Yes.
Okay. The film is The Ghost and the Devil's Brother. Yes. So anyway, come and show up. It's going to be Sunday, October the 22nd at 1 o'clock to 3:30. And I know it's going to be a hilarious affair, an activity.
Right over there in the annex at
It's
1
going to be in the
o'clock today.
annex, so it's going to be a good time.
Yep. And we are still calling tinkers, tailors, candlestick makers, and other craft and gift makers for the Thrive Treasures Market Boutique on October 28th. You can go online and sign up for that. And the 25th is a couple days away. The 25th is the very last day you can sign up to be a vendor. And for the rest of you, put this on your calendar. It will be from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday, October 28th, which is this coming Saturday. So.
Cool. Well, someone said that, what we got now? The
auction.
Auction items, yes. You have an opportunity to support Spiritual Life Center, and today is the last call for auction items that will be auctioned off. The auction is going to start on November the 5th, so if you got some items that you'd like to help support this auction event, just bring them to Spiritual Life Center, and we'll take care of it and put them up and have them auctioned off and support our community. So we look forward to you supporting us in that way. You know, somebody said that we all have a book inside of us. However, very few actually take up on that request that we write that book. But one individual did do that, and that is Jan Adrian. She has a book, and she's going to share about her book today and also have a book signing right after the service. So welcome a longtime Spiritual Life Center member, Jan Adrian. Oh, you're bringing up a mic. Here comes the mic.
Thank you. For most of my adult life, my prayer has been the prayer of St. Francis, Lord, make me an instrument. And when I was diagnosed with cancer in 1989, at the time it was a devastating, fearful event. But in retrospect, it was an answer to that prayer. Because cancer put me onto a career path that I never would have done otherwise. I started Healing Journeys, a nonprofit, when I couldn't find the resources I wanted to deal with cancer at the whole person level, body, mind, spirit. I started an organization that did that. And over 25 years, we served more than 25,000 people with our conference, Cancer is a Turning Point from Surviving to Thriving, that we did all over the country. And many people told me I should write a book. And I didn't for a long time because I had many reasons, but two of them were I had not recovered from cancer. I had many recurrences. I had cancer as a chronic illness for 30 plus years, and I thought you had to be cancer-free to write a book. I also thought there were too many books on the market about cancer, and I didn't want to add to that. And then people convinced me that my story was unique. There's not a book on the market from somebody who survived and thrived 30 plus years with cancer. So, and it convinced me that that would be inspirational even though I wasn't cancer free. So I wrote the book. It was my pandemic exercise. And even though my story is about cancer, people who have read it said it's good for anybody who's struggling with anything and who isn't struggling with something. So my prayer is that my story will be helpful and inspirational to anybody that reads it to help deal with whatever washes up on your beach. And thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Jan, for sharing your story and your journey.
And of course, every week we remind you that there are many activities here that foster transformation in our lives. So be sure to check out our weekly small groups and other offerings. And the happenings are posted on the bulletin board in the courtyard. You can go chat with the ladies at the hub. Or, of course, you can go to our website to find out whatever you might possibly want to know about us.
Well, one of the reasons we come to Spiritual Life Center is to connect with other folks of like mind and just to help us along in our journey and sometimes our struggles and share our joys. And often we do it through classes and seminars and special events, but you never have to wait until then to connect with someone. You could do so right here and right now. So I invite you to go to a friend or a neighbor, someone that you don't know, and in a manner that feels comfortable for you, just say, "You are marvelous and glad you are here."
We invite you to stay standing and join us in singing our group song, our Faith in Action song, Faith is the Key, written by Paula Mandela. If you're watching, Paula, we miss you, and happy birthday, Ira.
Happy birthday, Ira. Woo, birthday.
Are we getting more confident in this song? Sing out like you mean it. Here we go. Living my life from the inside out, moving toward my dreams, turning away all my fears and doubts. A world of lack is not what it seems. It's no secret, there's a universal truth. The life that we are living is the life that we choose. And faith is the key to the kingdom of power within me. I see it, believe it, and now I can achieve it. Love moves in me and transforms every fear into courage. I feel it, I know it, and every day I show it. Yes, I will. I'm giving way to the divine flow, attracting all I need. With grateful heart, now for this I know, it's there abundantly. It's no miracle, it's very clear to see. God can't do nothing for me that isn't done through me. I know that faith is the key to the kingdom of power within me. I see it, believe it, and now I can achieve it. Love moves in me and transforms every fear into courage. I feel it, I know it, and every day I show it. Faith is the key to the kingdom of power within me. I see it, believe it, and now I can achieve it. Love moves in me and transforms every fear into courage. I feel it, I know it, and every day I show it. Yes, I will.
Yes, I will.
I'm synchronizing with life. Faith is the key. Love moves in me. Faith is the key. Love moves in me. Please be seated.
Faith is the key. Love moves in me. Well, you know, each week we have an artist that comes forward to share their artwork to reinforce the theme for our Faith in Action for each week. And this week we have an artwork by Reverend Penelope Clement. And here's her title, The Divine Heart Container. And here's what Reverend Penelope writes. People yearn for repose in God because they innately know they are one in the Spirit. This painting shows the divine heart container of God's love. When we realize we are all held in the divine container of God's heart, we know we are one in the Spirit. God's absolute love keeps us safe and secure. This allows us to lay down our resistance to life, for there is nothing to fear. Then we align with the flow and form a harmonious interaction with others. The Divine Heart Container by Reverend Penelope Clement. Thank you. They got to see it too. All right.
Now, as we move into the contemplative portion of our service, let us embody the words of our vision statement together. Spiritual Life Center is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes home all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions. Weaving ancient spiritual traditions with emerging wisdom, we cultivate a spiritual deepening with the divine, each other, and our planet.
And now, in preparation for meditation, we invite you to sing this beautiful chant by Karen Drucker. If love is why I'm here. Please join us in singing. If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. Give and receive. Give and receive. If love is why we're here, let us be an open channel. If love is why we're here, let us give and then receive. If love is why we're here, let us be an open channel. If love is why we're here, let us give and then receive. Give and receive. Give
channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. Let me give and then receive. Let me give and then receive.
As we settle into this time of quiet, breathe naturally. Simply become aware of how you relax with each breath. Breathe into the back of your heart and exhale. Melt into your seat. Relax your eyelids. And allow your vision to become soft and cloudy as you close your eyes. And allow yourself to drift into a light daydream and come walk with me into the spiral of love. In front of you is a hedge-lined path, and a very friendly puppy bounces up to you. It jumps and twirls around, a sign that says, "Welcome to the spiral of love." And the puppy bounces over to you, exuding love and joy, makes you laugh, and your heart opens to receive this love. The puppy runs along the path, stopping and looking back, as if to say, "Follow me." The path is beautiful, lined with hedges and flowers, birds, butterflies. It's quiet and peace abounds. And now, as you come into the first curve, a small child runs to greet you. The child's eyes radiate pure love as it reaches up to show you a special toy. As you bend down to look at the toy, the child wraps its arms around your neck and hugs you. Joy and love tingle throughout your entire body. Receiving this love, your heart opens just a little bit more. Now, following the puppy and the child along the path, you laugh with glee as they bounce and run in the pure joy of simply being. And as you enter the next curve, a couple dances into the path. And they look lovingly into each other's eyes as they twirl and spin, exuding love, peace, and joy. As they spin around you, sparks fly that resolve into strands of light spiraling around you. Receiving this deep love, your heart opens even wider. By now, you are so filled with love that you feel like you could not hold any more, and yet your companions move ahead of you. Their lights of love and joy pull you along. An ethereal being clad in white stands in the middle of the path, watching you with pure love, arms spread wide. And you walk right into those arms which wrap around you in the purest, most loving embrace you have ever felt. You feel safe and warm. Love and joy permeate your body, your bones, your cells, your very soul. Your heart opens even wider, immersed in pure love. The being takes you by the hand and leads you around the last curve into the center of the spiral. And here there burns the light of clear, holy, pure love. And you are immersed in the light, blending, dancing in love and joy just for being in the silence. Your eyes see only love. You feel only love. Love is your connection with everything. It keeps you together. It keeps all of us together. And as you take a breath now or two, begin to return to your physical body. Please receive this blessing. Oh, my beloved, there is only love. As you walk through the seasons of your life, you will encounter many moods and emotions, and no matter the season, you can come within where love dwells, where infinite love is bouncing, dancing, embracing you, where you are fully embraced and where you know that truly love is all there is. Remember this, always.
We started on this journey, our convictions all in place. But one by one they tumble, each one a gift from grace. We can change our point of view, and gaze upon the beauty that is me, that is you. We see what we want to see and what we wish to be. It's just the way we dream it, the key to what we would believe. It's just to know that everything's a miracle when seen through the That's when there comes the courage to knock a hole out of this wall. We take time to find what's true. And now no other looks upon my soul the way you do. We see what we want to see and what we wish to be. It's just the way we dream it, the key to what we would believe. It's just to know that everything's a miracle when seen through the eyes of love. A simple man becomes a king. A child flies on silver wing. A woman now becomes a queen. And none of us are what we see. We see what we want to see. A child flies on silver wing. And what we wish to be. Anything is possible. It's just the way we dream it. A woman now becomes a queen, and none of us are what we see. Know that everything's a miracle when seen. Everything's a miracle when seen through the eyes of love. Through the eyes of love. Everything's a miracle. Oh, through the eyes of love. Everything is a miracle. Oh, through the eyes of love. Everything is a miracle. Oh, through the eyes of love. Everything's a miracle.
Thank you, Laurie and Ann and the members of our band. Through the eyes of love, everything is a miracle. I could rest in that energy field for quite a while. So we'll just carry that on this morning and throughout the day, maybe throughout the week. As I was preparing for this talk this week about, this is our, fourth week of our Faith in Action series, I thought about a man who had an issue or challenges, controlling his anger. So he decided that he was going to go off to a far place and just isolate and go into a cave, and so he could, do what he needed to do to overcome his anger. So he went to a very serene place and was probably playing very great, serene music, like Through the Eyes of Love. And he had been there for a year, and he felt that he had transformed and transcended the anger that was within him. And so he came out and he was amongst his friends, and he announced to all who would listen that, I have overcome anger. And the people that knew him, they gave him a polite, golf clap. That's good. That's great to hear. And they were kind of hanging out for a little while, and then After a while, one of his friends said, "Now, are you sure that you overcame your anger? Weren't there some things that caused you to get angry every once in a while?" And he said, "Oh, no, I've overcome anger." And they went on a little bit longer, and then somebody said, "Now, I know there had to be some things in there that crossed your mind that conjured up this energy within you. I'm sure that happened." He said, "No, it didn't happen." And then they came back, a little later on and said, I know, weren't there just a few things?" And he said, "I told you I overcame anger." Now, of course, that story shows that we don't get enlightened by retreating from the world. We become enlightened by transcending the world of appearances, where we're in it, but we're not necessarily entangled by it. Because what we want to do is stay in sync with the Spirit of the living God and all of its qualities. Well, in this 5th week of our series, of our theme, Going with the Flow, based upon Eric Butterworth's book, The Flow of Life. He starts out in this chapter, and he calls it the art of getting along. And he notes that life is set in the framework of human relations. And yes, there are conflicts that arise between people. Yes, there are conflicts arising between nations. But at bottom, I think people yearn to rest in, to lean on, to trust in this presence that we call God. And on some level, they know that happens in relating and connecting with other people. Because we all come from this one source we call God. We are one in the Spirit. We're connected to this divine presence, which is the thing that glues everything together. It binds together the entire human family. In fact, I would say the universe itself. And when we're in tune with that, we are in the flow. But sometimes, we frustrate that flow. Or we get out of that flow and we miss the good that may be right in front of us. Years ago, I heard about a couple who was driving to the Grand Canyon. And they were at the hotel, and they got supposedly instructions on how to get there. And it was about 4 hours away from where they were staying at. And after 4 hours of driving, the Grand Canyon was nowhere in sight. They were lost. I guess this was before GPS or Google directions. And so like we did back in those days, those remember when you didn't have Google directions, you just came, if you didn't have a map, you walk up into a gas station and say, "Can you tell me how to get to XYZ?" And they told them it was going to be another hour and a half to get there. So they drove for like an hour and a half. But all the while they were driving, they were rehashing all the wrong turns they made and arguing with each other of the turns they did not make and who gave the person the wrong instructions and why they ended up in the wrong place. And then when they finally got to the Grand Canyon, they continued to analyze why they had gotten lost and which one caused them to get lost. And imagine how much they missed out on because they were focused on who was at fault and who was to blame, and creating what I call useless and unnecessary suffering. That's what I call sin, is useless and unnecessary suffering. So it may have been a good time to let go and get in the flow. But that's just a small example of where they were frustrating that flow. Well, we know at times, we can't help ourselves. We're human, even people who are supposed to be, quote, enlightened. As being in the ministerial school, I remember when I first came out, I went to one of our annual conferences. And I was saying, oh man, this is just going to be just, kumbaya, and they're going to have some really good, discussions about the future and how we can transform the world. But I remember they had to have some rule changes, and I don't know exactly what the rule changes were, but let me know that they weren't really that important because I don't even remember what it was. But I just remember in that meeting, there were a few of my colleagues who were calling each other every name under the book except the child of God. And I'm sure some were grateful that there wasn't a tape around to record that, because they wouldn't have recognized themselves. And I was sharing with one of the people who had been around for a while about, how this was kind of surprising to me that, that these are enlightened beings that I'd be looking toward and hopefully growing and developing, unfolding, following as a model. And he said, whenever you see a human being, you're going to see some human consciousness along the way. It's going to pop up because that's part of the journey. So we all get out of the flow. Sometimes we all get out of sync with this divine presence. And we all run into people, maybe we had at work, if we had jobs, and we encountered groups or organizations that may rub us the wrong way. They get on our last nerve, and we can't seem to get along no matter how hard we try, and we're ready to throw all the spiritual stuff right on out the window. I saw, just as an aside, a group of mature citizens. And you would think they were full of wisdom, they were full of life. But they were kind of wearing hoodies and looking menacing. And on their hoodies, they had these words: don't piss off old people. The older we get, the less life in prison is a deterrent. And I looked at them and said, hold up, I'm with you. I'm one of y'all. Don't look at me like that. We don't want to go there. Though I understand when somebody gets into that mindset. But Butterworth notes, getting along only secondarily has to do with the other person. It's about getting in and staying with our true self. It's about getting and staying there to keep the channels of our awareness, our consciousness free from the obstructions that stop us from staying in this flow of divine love. Years ago when I was as a congregant and ministerial in a ministry. As you know, those in this philosophy, they do things a little different from traditional churches. And, we were doing gay weddings and things of that nature. And there were some people that come to the church and outside the church, and they were picketing and, calling us names other than a child of God. And the natural reaction is to resist and to fight back. And the minister that was there did something very interesting. He just told everybody, just go in the back, and it was like in the middle of the summer. It was hot and outside. He said, get everybody, get some glasses of water and take some water out to them and ask them, I know it's kind of hot out here. You're probably thirsty. Here's some water, to quench your thirst. And what happened was, it was just so much loving energy that came toward them that they just couldn't take it. And they left. So help me understand what Jesus meant when he said that when you turn the other cheek. Many times we've interpreted that incorrectly. We think, what do you mean, slap one cheek and then turn your cheek and get slapped on the other? Of course, that would be silly. But every time Jesus talked, he talked about things in parables and metaphors. He was sharing about some sort of transformation that should take place within us. So we have to read between the lines to understand if someone sends you one form of energy, sends it in your direction, that's a low vibration. You don't have to get entangled in that energy. You can give them another form of energy back. In other words, you choose who you are. You choose to name yourself. You choose to decide what you stand for. And so when animosity or resentment or unforgiveness or gossip or whatever comes in your direction, what we want to do is become strong enough and decisive enough that based upon our awareness, we turn the other cheek to give another form of energy to the energy that we may be receiving that's not in sync with the life force. And so when we do that, we'll be in league with that presence that has no beginning or no end. We'll be in league with those avatars and enlightened people throughout time who stayed in the flow, and how their life eventually became a monument of peace and wisdom and harmony. One of my favorite people that I looked up to and has a very high standard of life during his lifetime was Nelson Mandela. I've shared that from time to time. And of course, he was unjustly imprisoned for 27 years. And when he was interviewed right after he came out, the interviewer noticed something about him, his countenance, and he asked Mr. Mandela, I noticed that after being just imprisoned unjustly for all this time, that you have no bitterness, you have no anger. how can you explain that? And he said, well, I did miss, being with my wife and growing up and raising my children. But while I was imprisoned, there were a few guards in there who were very nice to me, who did some positive things for me. So while I was there, I just focused on those acts of kindness that were toward me, and I didn't really focus on all the other stuff. And as a result, he gave one form of energy back in return for the energy that he was receiving in exchange for the low vibrational energy. And that's why it's important to closely examine what's going on in our awareness, our consciousness, and ask, am I sending out energy I want to see in this world? Because if we cannot do it, there's no hope for the world. If we cannot do it, there's no hope for peace in the Middle East. We have to be able to do it right where we are and have that spread out to the rest of the world. In that same vein, we want to be in a place and sometimes where we don't even take offense. Butterworth notes in his text, in this chapter, if sometimes we're offended, that means sometimes we're offendable. If we're upset, we're upsettable. There's something outside of us that we're giving power over us. And understand to take offense sometimes is just as powerful or challenging as a giving offense. Sometimes we say, oh, that person did something to me, ignored me, said something to me or about me. If we take offense at that people do or what they say, not understanding that taking offense is putting sometimes the same confusion in the airways as the offending party, because they're both part of the same energy. But of course, we're human. But we can get back in the flow of life, and we can discover that our imagination can become angels of God. Because a lot of times we have no idea what is going on within another person. No clue. Sometimes I talk with folks and they're kind of like acting in a very, unique, creative way in the world. And then you find out, man, they had a whole lot of stuff going on that I had no idea about. If I really knew how far they had come, I would be bowing to them in adulation for what they are doing right now. We have the ability to think independent of circumstances. So when someone sends us negative energy our way, we can make a commitment to strengthen our resolve and synchronize with the Spirit of God. And when we make that commitment to stay in the flow, the pure dimension of our being will come forth like never before. And I was reading some work about biography of Albert Einstein, and he was reviled for some of the views that he held. And people were asking how he dealt with that. And he said, the slings and arrows have been shot in my direction many times. But here's the thing. I don't live where they're coming from, so they cannot touch me. They cannot touch that part within me. Sometimes if we're triggered, it's an indication we're out of the flow of life. And if we see it from that perspective, we might figuratively bow before the person and thank them for revealing to us where we're out of the flow. We can see them as our best friends in disguise. Because all of us are unsure of ourselves at times. Sometimes we don't like ourselves. Sometimes we don't remember that we are one with the presence, that we are part of this divine flow of love, and we hide ourselves, our true self, from ourselves. And when we do, those good people that show up in our life, they just bring it right up into our face. Because then it helps us remember, here's what I've forgotten about myself. Here's what I'm thinking about myself. Here's what I'm hiding from myself. And it comes as criticism at times. It comes as dislike sometimes. But they're instrumental in revealing when we are out of the flow. And it gives us an opportunity to turn on more light. Sometimes we may wonder why we're here in a particular situation at times. I recall that I had a cousin who had passed away. He actually had come to one of our other relatives' memorial service, and he was ill at the time, and he said, when I have my memorial service, I want you to come and officiate. And of course, when he did transition, I went up to, I think it was in Brooklyn where it was located, and And it was, I guess, a traditional church. And, I came up there, and they were around. There were some people around there who were, how should I say, questioning my theology and wondering why I was there. And when I say questioning my theology, I think they were kind of like persecuting me a little bit. I was feeling a little bit like a victim. And then I remembered something that Howard Thurman, who was a mentor of Martin Luther King, said. He said, sometimes God places you in a position where amongst your friends and people who love God, sometimes it places you among people who say they're agnostic and they don't know anything about God. Or then there are some individuals who say, oh, I just hate this whole idea of God. And for some reason at that moment, it hit me that I was there to introduce them to my best friend, the presence and the power and the love of God itself. And so something just went off on me within me, and I was talking about this presence, this power, this love that is with us always, and how we never really die, and that our life goes on, and there's a presence that is with us, and that consciousness is what we leave behind. And I was just going off. And I got a few amens, and he's so-called, that's talk, brother, and all that kind of stuff. Something within them touched them. And maybe I would just put in that position at that moment so maybe one person can hear a different perspective. I realize that, as I close out for today, we're here to synchronize with life. That means to get in the flow of life. It means to get in the flow of the divine love that Ann and Larry were singing about. And when someone seems to have done harm to us, we have to get in the flow and in sync with the vibration of that divine love anyway. We live in it. We're surrounded by it. God is love. And if God is everywhere present in its entirety, at every point in space, in time, then it is right where we are. And we can never fall out of it. Falling out of love would be like falling out of a swimming pool. You can't fall out of a swimming pool. But the difference is, you're going to swim in the shallow end, or you're going to swim in the deep end. The shallow end is that, I'm only going to love the people that I like. I'm only going to love the people that agree with me. I am only going to love the people who think I'm right. But we're called to go to the deep end. To love those who spitefully use us, to love those who persecute us, who love those who do not agree with us, who love those who are not on our side, recognizing God doesn't take sides. There's only one side. And to love at that deeper end includes everyone. As we do, we're standing and we're resonating with God's intention for our life. And like I said, if we cannot do it, there's no hope for the world. There's no hope for those hot spots on the world. We have to begin right where we are. Like I said, some people don't want to go to the deep end. They may say, if I love that person, I have to hang around them. I have to buy them dinner at a 5-star restaurant. No, it does not mean that at all. It simply means sometimes the resentment, the animosity, the separation is diminished. And we're seeing beyond how they may be showing up at any given moment. They have forgotten who they are. And this, yes, as Butterworth points out, sometimes it's best you just got to let them go. Let them be. Give them their space. While at the same time, see them rightly. See the truth of who and what they are beyond the appearances. And what I realized that sometimes when we have those challenges with other people, we're not at war with another person. We're at war of our concept of them. They've forgotten who they are. They've gotten out of the flow. And we're here to stay in the flow. We're here to begin to court that presence and move into right action in our own life so that we are transformed from within. Because life is lived from within out. And when we begin to live from that space, then people will look at us and they will see the God presence, causing them to see the truth within their own being. And it will be activating something within them because they're recognizing that it's also within them as well. And of course, they will be sensing, they will be seeing that flow that we're in. They will see the presence that we worship. So we don't have to go around, trying to convert other people, knocking on doors and read this daily word or, understand this particular this philosophy. Instead, we're here to let our light so shine before men and women that they see that presence. And they knock on our doors and they ask, how can I get what you got? And you just say, hey, just come on down to Spiritual Life Center. And where you get to glow, where you get to flow, where you get to be in the presence of God. So that we need not convert in any way, shape, or form anything outside of us, change anything outside of us. What we need to do is glow and shine and radiate this God presence that's within us and around us all the time. And they will stand up and take notice, drop what they're doing, and dive into the flow of this ever-expanding good that we know is always there. Because we are announcing to all and sundry, those who have ears to hear, oh, how magnificent life is. Because we are in the flow of life. Peace and blessings. Well, each week we have an affirmation that we take with us to reinforce some of the ideas of the week's reading or talk. I just invite you to join in as we speak this affirmation together. I lay down my resistance to life. I become conscious of the presence. In divine order, I align with the flow. Next week, I'll be back as we go into the next week of our Faith in Action series, week 5, and I'll be talking about giving way to the flow. And we're talking about the law of giving. And so I invite you to be part of that. And next week, it looks like it's blue is the color, red, orange, yellow, green, blue. We're doing the rainbow colors throughout this series. And we'll have Reverend Janae will do the meditation and music. Larry will be back, and the rest of our backup folks over here. So thank you for being here and part of the experience. If you want prayer immediately after the service, the chaplain will be available to pray with you. They're wearing the white stole. And you can go out to the courtyard, and if you're going through a challenge or a problem or a setback or a bump in the road, they'll help you see it from a higher point of view. Or as I like to say, if you're just having some good stuff happen in your life, they can have them pray with you on that as well, because we don't have to wait till things kind of get out of hand before we turn to God and say, oh my God, it's an emergency. We don't have to wait till then. We can keep focusing on the good stuff, and more good stuff comes to us. For those who are online that would like to connect with Spiritual Life Center or are new, we just have to fill out a welcome card, and we'll keep you informed of what's taking place at Spiritual Life Center. But if anyone's here for the very first time, we invite you to raise your hand. Any first-timers here today, or are we all knowers of each other? I think we know each other, even if we don't know each other. Oh, okay, we did have someone. Thank you for showing up, being here. Thank you for your presence this morning. And we affirm you, we appreciate you, we behold the magnificence that you are, and whatever path that you're on, we just see you doing great things, because that's what we're here to do and support each other in doing. And with that, I invite those who are online who want to support Spiritual Life Center with their gift or love offering. You can do so by texting SLC Love to 44321, text SLC Love to 44321, or go to our website, slcworld.org, click the Donate tab, and give in other ways, including by sending a check by mail. So we thank you for supporting us and providing an opportunity for those who are on the path of growth, development, and spiritual unfoldment. And if you're watching us online, you can share, comment, subscribe, so we can get more people to know about what we're doing and make a difference in their life and ultimately our world. For those who are present today who would like to make a gift to Spiritual Life Center or have already given automatically, just know that you're in the flow of this principle that says you can never outgive the presence of God. And whatever we give out does come back to us in ways we never imagined and from directions we never thought of. And so with that awareness and that consciousness, let's affirm our offertory blessing together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God.
As Paula is still recovering, don't be fooled. She is such an intricate part of this music ministry and still taking care of it from afar. She was very moved to put this particular song in our service today, and she was also very moved to write this introduction. We Can Work It Out. The names and music of John Lennon and Paul McCartney generally need no introduction. But this next song takes on an even more poignant meaning as it was recorded by two remarkable women. Mira Awad, born near Galilee of Palestinian Arab descent, and Noah, born in Tel Aviv to a Jewish family of Yemenite descent, met as young women at the distinguished Rimmon School of Music in Israel. Since a young age, both women have been speaking out and actively working for a peaceful resolution to the Arab-Israeli conflict. For many years, they have performed together and participated worldwide in numerous panels as prominent cultural advocates of coexistence and the role of art and artists towards bringing it about. Whether your perspective challenges you to see eye to eye in your personal relationships, your community or nation, or beyond the deeply rooted pain of a savage history, there is an ever-present invitation from the healing spirit of oneness to see through the eyes of love. Love changes everything. Raise your voice with the voices of peace. We can work it out.
Try to see it my way. Do I have to keep on talking till I can't go on? Well, you see it's your way. Run the risk of knowing that our love may soon be gone. We can work it out. We can work it out. Think of what you're saying. You can get it wrong and still you think that it's alright. Think of what you're saying. We can work it out and get it straight or say goodnight. We can work it out. We can work it out. Life is very short and there's no time for fussing and fighting, my friend. I have always thought that it's a crime, so I will ask you once again. Try to see it my way. Only time will tell if I am right or I am wrong. Why you see it your way, there's a chance that we might fall apart before too long. We can work it out. We can work it out. Life is very short and there's no time for fussing and fighting, my friends. I have always thought that it's a crime, so I will ask you once again. Try to see it my way. Only time will tell if I am right or I am wrong. While you see it your way, there's a chance that we might fall apart before too long. We can work it out. We can work it out. Yeah.
Thanks for joining in on the fun.
We can work it out. That's going to be in my head throughout the week. It's a good thing to keep in our minds that indeed, when we're in tune with the Spirit of the living God, it will be worked out. And we take this time to bless those who have blessed us with their gifts or offerings, either online or in person, so we can provide a place, a container for those who are seeking to work out their challenges and realize their oneness with the Spirit of the living God, so they can fulfill their potential as expressions of the Spirit of the living God. And as we do our part to do that, then we begin to anchor a little bit more of heaven on earth, which is expanding good and peace and joy and harmony and all the good stuff that we're here to have. As the master teacher says, we're here to have life and have it more abundantly. We also bless those who have left their prayers in the prayer box, knowing that we all have challenges in our life from time to time. We all have setbacks. We all have bumps in the road. But we remember there's a presence that we can lean on that has the answer even before we come up with the prayer request. There's a statement that reminds us that before they call, I've already answered you. The answer is there because this presence only deals in divine and perfect spiritual solutions. And it may look different than what we have come up with our human mind, but you know, what Spirit has in store for us is beyond our human comprehension at times. So we come under His government, His guidance. We allow it to have its way with us. And we remember the power that it has to overcome, to help us rise above any seeming challenge, whether in our individual lives or in the world. For there is no situation that's too big or too small for the presence of God to guide us through. And so as we allow this presence to guide us, direct us, uplift us, transform us, then we see a different experience in our world. Not because we've made it happen, we simply made it welcome by being the presence that we're here to be. So we go forth knowing that there are answers to the prayers that have been left by those who left them in the prayer box. There are prayers that are in our minds and hearts that we know that the Spirit of God is also answering for us, and we accept them because we create the conditions that makes the result and the answer to the prayer inevitable. And it has something to do with the realization and the recognition and the belief in our oneness with this presence. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. Well, at this time, I invite you to join in as we affirm our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, I am, and all is well. Let's sing our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, God
Peace and blessings. Have a great week. Hang around for some post-service music and stay in the flow.